beloved all around the world. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, you're all well and in the best of health. For those who have just broken their fast all around the world, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts them. And for those of you still waiting, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you the patience. With me here today is Samahat Sayyid Fadl Bahr Al-Ulum. Sayyidina, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you, Sayyidina? Inshallah, all well with the fast.
Alhamdulillah.
Still have a few more hours to go here in London, but it's all well.
Yeah, three.
Counting down. In today's show, Sayyidina, we have a great topic, contemporary topic, and one that's very, very important to discuss, which is the pressures of the 24-hour social networking. Sayyidina, I've tried, but I haven't found you on social media. You don't have a Twitter or Instagram, but...
No, I'm not yet.
No, don't have time for it, or you think it's a negative?
Oh, it's both, and I've been advised by someone that it's not recommended for scholar in Europe. I know in Najaf, some scholars they do have, but here, some of my students and the friends, they said it's not recommended, so...
That's interesting because we do have a lot of scholars who are at the moment on social media. Some of them who try to use it for good, some of them unfortunately have used it for popularity, and they spew unfortunate hatred, and they cause division. But I mean, everything could be used for good or could be used for bad. I'll give an example. Saying, I don't know, I've heard from people a bit older than me, I'm maybe in your generation, a bit older, that, for example, in our cities, Karbala, Najaf, this, that, in the 60s or 70s or whenever it was, if they would see an antenna on top of a house, they'd straight away know this house is not a religious house, for example, because they viewed TV as a bad thing. But now we can use TV for a very good thing, for example, if you're tuning into Safir TV or using it for a positive thing. So, I mean, could the same be said about social media?
Sort of. If not worse or more. The problem, it can be used for both, as you just mentioned. I would just like to mention, you mentioned that I'm older than you. Who says so?
I apologize, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we need evidence.
That's totally fair.
The thing is, yes, it can be used for both. And as I've been asking and watching with friends and my children, sometimes it can be used for useful things. Unfortunately, most of the uses has not been used for good things. The problem is not only the usage, whether it's good or bad, the problem is the addiction to it. And when we talk about social media or social networking, we had many things like Twitter and the Facebook and the Instagram and even the WhatsApp with these small clips. Nowadays, most families, if not all, they have this kind of complaint that either the husband and or the wife are spending long hours on watching these clips.
But were people spending the same long hours watching television?
The thing is, now we just been used to people watching television, but not used to people watching or spending time on social media.
It is a phenomenon. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them on buses or trains or wherever.
Yeah.
Anywhere we go, they're like, just like that.
Yeah, but
fixated.
And not only that, the thing is now people spending hours on social networking, and hours on TV, and hours on whatever, and at the end of the day, 7-8 hours work, nothing left for socializing. Unfortunately, this is called social networking. So
I wanted to ask you, in the foundation, some of your work with the community has to do with divorce cases. Did you ever get couples who are unhappy because one of the couples spent too much time on social media? You did?
Yeah, because they got addicted. There's addiction to these kind of machines or devices or the kind of mobile phones or the any kind of electronic devices. But the thing is, we can't sort out this problem without considering what's the reason behind it. Why do we spend long time on watching or listening to these? The answer is because we are bored.
You think it's boredom that causes people to go towards this?
Mainly, in the old days, people, for example, now it's the holy month of Ramadan, people spend longer time in mosque, at work, calling friends, Barak alaikum shahar, congratulations, Ramadan. Nowadays, we've been just sending these messages, Ramadan and the Eid. It's good and bad. It's good if we keep on using it up to a limit, but it's bad if it exceeds that limit.
Do you think it's shifting the dynamic of social life? For example, now I don't need to see you on a daily basis, even if you're my best friend. I can just send you a message on WhatsApp. If I don't know what you're doing in life, I do know what you're doing because you're posting it on Facebook. So now, suddenly, we've become plugged into the wall where we don't need to communicate physically, but we must communicate through these networks, for example,
Exactly.
Twitter and Facebook and all this. Do you think that's ruining the dynamic of community, of society? Because I have here an article from The Guardian last year where it says a parent would tell their child, stop being on your computer so much, stop being on your phone so much. And the reply would be, Mom or Dad, you're ruining my social life. Where the parents wouldn't understand this. What do you mean social life? You're not sitting with anyone. You're with this little device. There's no people around you. This is not being social. What's your opinion on that?
This is why we have increased number of autism and other kind of problems with the children.
That's actually interesting you say this because I have here, it says also that young children and even young adults, they will have sleeping disorder and anxiety, and also it may lead them to depression if they use social media in the evenings constantly.
These are medical reports, I assume,
Yes,
and
yes.
we can't question them that much. Before we get into the side effect and the negative thing, I've got to say that there are benefits to the usage of these kind of things, not in social media. For example, I mean, this mobile phone I have, I travel regularly. I can run my work, organization, any kind of work from the internet and from the WhatsApp. So this is something very good. But there should be a limit. If I got stuck to it, because the side effect of it, like in the old days, we spend morning till evening in doing office work. Now it's 24/7, because even at night you text or you WhatsApp the other
You
people.
don't have time to shut off anymore.
Ahsantu. So there should be a limit to these kind of usages, whether it's positive or negative. And when we talk about the negative, you just mentioned sleepless nights. Those who are using it at night, they feel, because I read a lot and I met a few psychologists in that matter, as we have problems with some children or young people. They said the child or the individual will feel isolated. Yani he will feel inside the, it's like a bulb, he's inside it, and he's not communicating with the others physically or manually. Like we have in Islam, you gain a lot of thawab if you shake hands. The noob will diminish this. If you hug, if you do this, and nowadays hugging, they notice that it gets a lot of psychological benefits. While when
They say
you
if you hug a person that you care about for more than 5 seconds, the body starts to release oxytocin.
Yeah, which is true. And all of that you get thawab. We have riwayat about it. Bear in mind, I mean maharib and non-maharib and this.
No, of course.
And even when you talk over the phone, but if you keep on sending messages without talking, without mentioning the reaction of,
That's one of the negatives of social media right there.
then by time you find yourself feeling upset or not happy, uncomfortable
There's a hole.
with going out and socializing with people. Oh no, I'm not in a mood. I'll send them a message.
Don't you feel there's a hole in your life as well that you're not filling? You think you're filling it with social media, but you're not.
Exactly. And when you spend nights on these kind of things, you end up having kind of, as you said, the hole will get bigger and bigger, and there's kind of emptiness deep inside yourself, which you can't cover.
I'll give you a fun fact. How many people do you think worldwide use social media?
I don't know, but I think it's a very large number.
2.34 billion.
Billion, 2.3.
Billion.
2.3.
That's a big number. We do have a caller. Let's see if they have an
Yeah.
opinion on the matter
Yeah.
or any questions. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Ramadan Kareem. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Alaikum salam. My name is Zainab Zahra. I'm calling from Watford.
Alaikum salam, sister. Ramadan Kareem. Do you have an opinion on this matter or any questions for the Sayyid?
Yeah, I mean, especially about the sleepless nights thing, I think I'm a victim of that, and definitely psychologically it does affect me.
Okay.
But one of the things as a woman I've noticed is that hijab can be different on social media. So, for example, if I wear scarf, just yesterday I saw an old friend of mine and it popped up on Facebook. It says, a friend request, and she wasn't wearing scarf. So I was like, oh,
عياذ بالله.
what's happened? But and then it's like you can have a different facade online or on social media than to what you are on person.
So you can have a
So
totally
it's like,
different character, for example.
yeah, it's like a make-believe concept. You can invent
Oh.
yourself. You can filter your images. You can look fabulous,
Yes, you can.
but nothing is real.
That's a very good point. First of all, sister, I hope that inshallah the sleepless nights that you suffer from, they get better inshallah. Our advice would be to stop using social media at night inshallah. It doesn't affect you. And in terms of the opinion that you just gave, the thought that you just gave, I beg your pardon, saying it's a very interesting thought actually. It's something that I wanted to discuss after the break. The sister talked about hijab. I want to talk about social hijab, but she talks specifically about wearing the scarf, where she sees some of her friends don't wear the scarf on social media and they create their own personas on social media. And now it's become something very easy. I have nothing. I take a picture of myself, for example, next to a Mercedes one day, next to a very nice house the next day, next to this next day. On social media, people start thinking I'm rich. So people want to make themselves, they're pressured as well because everyone else is doing it. They feel pressured that, oh, we need to look good, we need to be rich, we need to do this, all because of social media. I mean, this hijab issue is a horrendous issue. I mean, in your foundations, you work with a lot of people taking off their hijab or anything like this.
Well, a few years ago, I do remember at the beginning of this Facebook, and at that time, I never knew even what was Facebook. There was a big shock and a big hua between the community about the use of Facebook, and some girls are taking off their hijab when they took photos. Talking about the hijab for sisters, same thing with the brothers. I notice when some people show me on Facebook, they have these sleeveless kind of tops,
Vests.
vests, and
Or pictures on the beach.
or on the beach.
They want to show their six pack.
Exactly,
They've
and
been working out.
yeah, and they are some of them are a bit religious. I mean, there's Husn Zahir. We know them. They attend Husseyniyat. So it might be by mistake. Even myself, may do a mistake. They may not know. But now let's talk about it when people are more familiar. On Facebook or any kind of social networking, you should do whatever you think you can do in a public park. If I can take off my hijab, if I'm a girl in the park, that means I'm allowed to take it in the face. Facebook is like a park. It's like open.
So if you can't take your hijab off on
That
the
means I
park,
can't take it off. It's the same principle.
so be yourself basically
أحسنتم.
and be true to yourself.
And plus, we need to be a bit less than ourselves. I mean, I can be myself when I'm with a friend, but I can't be myself when I've got older friend. I can't be
course.
myself when this is are all Islamic. It's not double standard. There is a difference between the problem is we got mixed up concepts of ideas and opinions, and this is not double standard. No, Islam encouraged us about muhabbat, mudarat, let's call it taqiyya, all of those things, which means
But then they will tell you, for example,
they
saying
said
that,
double standard.
no, they'll say you have to accept me as I am. This is me. Why should I change in front
Yeah,
of
but
you?
no, it's respect. We have what's called as respect in Islam,
Very good.
and these
Etiquettes,
things.
social etiquettes.
أحسنتم. This is
I wouldn't put my feet up in front of my dad, but if
أحسن.
we're together with friends, maybe it's normal,
أحسنتم.
right?
Because this is all to minimize these kind of non-Islamic behavior and values. So Islam trying to get more excuses to minimize these things, and this are the things which we need to know and need to implement when we are using social networking.
Now, in terms of social hijab, Sayyidina, this is a funny one. A brother will feel shy to speak to a sister because it's socially unacceptable. But it's okay for them to send a message on Facebook. What's your opinion on this matter?
It's the same. If these
Becoming
messages-
friends on Facebook with this person, but you're
If-
not actually friends with them in real life.
if,
I saw her in uni, she looks good, add on a friend.
if these messages has got some kind of non-Islamic behavior and thoughts, it's haram. Exactly same principle. Same principle.
But it's happening, Sayyidina.
I've got to that
What do we do about it?
we need a lot of awareness, we need a lot of talk, we need a lot of lectures, speeches, talks, wa'i, I don't know what you call it. The people, they don't know about it that much. Plus, some of the scholars, or most of the scholars, either they do not speak the language, or they are not familiar with the kind of social networking, so they don't have time. They are busy with other problems. I think we need.
But is this not a major problem?
It is a major problem, but we need
Does
help.
the Hausa not need to keep up to date with these kind of things?
You are absolutely right, but we need the help of the Shabab. We need the help of the young generation to get part and to be involved in how to sort out these problems.
But this is something that happens, Sayyidina. You've been advised as a scholar it's not good for you to be on social media. But if you're not on social media, how would you know with the problems of the youth that they're facing on social media? I'm just going to flip it now.
Well,
I'm sorry, but you know.
I know. I know many of the scholars, including me at some stages. We know how social media work. We either see the son or the brother or the friend, and we work on it. So me personally, I went like into a course, and I learned from mistakes. I made so many mistakes. I learned from mistakes. Then I knew what is social media. As you are absolutely right. Before, I even couldn't visualize what was social media. When they talk about social media, it was like someone is talking about aliens, about some kind of Timbuktu or other. But we need to learn by practicing. This is absolutely right. But without getting involved directly. If you get involved directly, I think up until now, social media is not suitable for a scholar. It's not in our societies. Western people, we live in the West, but our societies are not Western. I'm talking about Islamic Shia society. We're still not up to.
But can't you do so much good yourself? You can every day put up your lectures or put up speeches or give a good message. Every day we see on social media there are bad messages being spread. Don't we need our scholars to send good messages on this platform? Because that's the platform where the youth are at. Saying that you cannot interact with the youth anymore. The youth are on social networks.
You are absolutely right. And I notice when I go through these
I'm not attacking you.
No, I know.
But you
are absolutely right.
This is a discussion so we can reach
It's
a
very
solution.
useful discussion. Many things and many speeches and talks are very important and useful we can get from social media. The reason why me personally I'm not publicly on social media because I'm not familiar 100% with the use of it. So I don't want to get involved in a mistake, and you know what I'm saying, because it's a bit
a lot of problems if a scholar
it's a bit complicated. Like when you press like and you think that you are deleting something, or it happened. I knew someone, it happened to him accidentally. One of the he's not a scholar, he's a religious person. He got involved in trouble. The poor guy, he doesn't know how to use it. And then he'd been told that it was so funny, and it's really funny because he tried to delete it. He pressed like, and it was something not Islamic. For us, which we are not 100% familiar with it, we need to be extra careful.
Okay, that's you.
Because no one will justify it, and no one will
on a personal
understand.
level. But when I meant you, I didn't mean you on a personal level. I meant you. No.
You and no, yeah, you're right.
So younger scholars, for example, inshallah, for example, Sayyid Amir, when he goes, he becomes a scholar in Najaf. He's grown up here in the West. Would you not advise him to use social media?
Yeah, they should.
To
gain
the attention of the youth?
You are right, they should. In fact, it's useful sometimes. There are many articles my son, my friends, they bring it for me through. They've been.
Because now we're using TV for good.
Yeah, even the social media. Many useful articles. Even now with the rules of the Hausa, it's been sent through WhatsApp, Instagram. Yeah.
Excellent, but this is something that actually, because we're going to go on a short break, I want to speak to you about Hausa lessons and stuff like that. Some things that have been said that maybe should not have been said in a public sector, etc. If you don't mind, dearly beloved viewers, please do join us after the break as the discussion gets heated. Assalamu alaikum once again, dearly beloved. Thank you for joining us for another live discussion show. With me here is Sayyid Father Bahar Uloom. Sayyidina, just before the break, we were discussing about a positive way that we can use social media, and one of the things that we said is, for example, Islamic lectures, and specifically we went into discussing Hausa lectures that are given specifically to students inside the Islamic seminaries of Najaf and Qom and Karbala and Mashhad. Now, saying that there's two ways to look at this. One way we can say that it's a very positive thing. Lots of people want to go to Hawza. They cannot go live in these specific cities. They can't, from the West, they can't live in the Middle East. So the best way to give it to them is through these means. Or some people would say some of these lessons are meant to be only taught in the seminary. Sometimes academic discussions take place and they can be taken out of context, and then the enemies of Ahlul Bayt and the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam will use that against us. Where do you draw the line? How do you know what's what? I mean, there's been many people now who go on, for example, the TV, and they speak about, scholars, they speak about various issues, and then some people come out and say, you shouldn't have talked about this. This should not only be spoke about in the Hawza, etc. I mean, what do you think?
I agree.
With which part?
There are things.
Oh.
I agree with both parts.
Okay.
Each of them has got a positive and negative.
Pros and cons on
Pros
both
and
ends.
cons always. But when we get into too technical, detailed Hawza lessons, sometimes it's not really recommended for the public to listen to them, as first they will not understand it, second it might cause them some confusion, third if they do not have preliminary lessons before that, that probably will give them the diverse or the opposite meaning. So always
it could lead to deviation, inhiraf.
it would probably at some stages. That's why always if they want and if they insist, then they need to refer to a teacher, they need to refer to a scholar to ask and to do mubahatha, devil's advocate, to understand the concept of this and that theory, rather than the judging and deciding which one is right.
So what about these short clips? On Instagram, I don't think you can post a clip more than a minute. Now, if there's a whole hour lecture, somebody can take out just a minute clip of something that they like to hear and put it on, and someone like, what's this? How could Sayyid Fulan or Sheikh Fulan say this?
Well, this is wrong definitely, as if they get a short clip, like if someone say Ashhadu an la ilaha, if they took that clip, it will be kufr. But if they la Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, then it means he is reciting the Shahadatain. That's why these clips are very dangerous, and it's wrong to listen to them sometimes, especially when we see someone saying how this scholar is saying this, and how, because this is what we call tatabbu' awarat al-ghayr, or you follow the mistakes of others and always try to pick up on someone, and this is, rather than it's wrong, it's haram, it's not something preferable or recommended, it's non-Islamic, it wouldn't do
cover
any
people's mistakes, right?
Especially when it comes to scholars, they are teaching, and in في مقام البحث العلمي inside the Hawza, during the lessons there are many theories are discussed and considered, and many things needs to be delivered, which needs someone who has got a Hawza background, fiqh background, usul background, then he would be able to absorb and to understand the concept of these theories. Otherwise it will cause them a problem, and it may cause, as you just said, to problems and cause them kind of deviation away from the right line of Sharia and Deen and Madhab.
So we won't say 100% the Hawza should stay away from social media.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But we would say that with limitations. There must be limitations.
أحسنتم سيدنا خير الأمور أوسطها. الوسطية, neutralism. Always we need to be neutral, as neutral as possible. As much as possible, we need to get this kind of neutralism.
Moderation.
أحسنتم. لا إفراط لا تفريط. Don't exaggerate. Everything has got its own benefit, but within limits. This is it. Alhamdulillah.
That's perfect. I think that speaks for a lot of things on many different levels, especially with what we're seeing with extremism in the world today. Moderation is the key, and moderation is the school of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam.
Na'am, of course.
Excellent. Sayyidina, we've discussed now the Hawza. We'll go back to a specific issue. There is pressures on youth in the society today when it comes to marriage. They can't approach the girl face to face because of urf, it's not correct or anything like that. Custom. But I want to get married to a specific girl, for example. I send her a message on Facebook. Is this allowed? With the intention of marriage?
We
Is it
can't-
preferable? Is it better to do something else? I mean, because they're saying that the old marriage system of mum find me a wife doesn't work anymore in this society.
Well,
I mean, it works for some, alhamdulillah, but I mean, for some, say it doesn't
used
work.
to be more successful, but without going into those details, one day probably, as we always say, we need to have a show
We'll talk about it.
that.
We'll have a
talk
show about it. Yeah, okay.
But we we don't recommend people to get in touch with others through social networking because there is no limitation. If, and it's only if, he has to, it has to be within or under the supervision of both parents. If not, at least his mother and or his father. Otherwise, that will lead into so many things. Okay, he used social media to find the right wife. After that, he got married. Then he had a row with the wife. He got fed up and bored. He also again go to social media to find the second wife. The wife gets fed up and bored with the husband, and she won't divorce. And she used social media. Endless. Everyone used social media to run away from his problems, and this is a problem by itself.
Could it be used afterwards for the couple to get to know each other better?
Probably, yeah, but within limits and under supervision of parents.
So the key here is you find a girl, for example, as a gentleman, you like her, don't approach her on social media. First tell your mum, let the families approach, and then if you don't see them on a daily basis, communicate through social
And this
media.
is providing that they do something to make it halal. Otherwise, we
course.
can't encourage youth to go on social media and maharim contacting each other. No, but assuming that they do sigha or whatever, anything they know
Aqd
through
Shari.
under the aqd shari, under the supervision of their parent or the local alim or knowledgeable friend, something like that.
Fair enough. We have a caller, Sayyidina. Let's see if they have an opinion or thought on this matter or any questions for you. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Ramadan Kareem. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Assalamu alaikum. Hassouni. I'm Hassouni from London. Can I
Okay,
have a
assalamu
question?
alaikum, Hassouni.
Very-
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Sayyidina, how to use the social media in a proper way?
How to use social media
Yeah.
in the proper way. What do you mean by proper, brother?
I mean, you know, the social media, now everyone uses the social media. And when I do open the social media, for example, the Facebook, for me personally, I wanted to put something useful for our community. But I'm worried about our children, how when they are at home alone, and we are here in work, okay, you know, and I worry how they can use the social media like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. If they say it can give us advice, okay.
Sure thing, brother Hassouni from London. Thank you for your phone call. I think there's two things here. He asked how to use social media in the proper way. Perhaps he means in the halal way. And the brother asks as well, if he tries to use it for the community good, what about his children? How does he control that? What they go into, how they see, what they see. Social media is such a vast ocean. I mean, what would you say? What's the best way to advise him? He wants to know exactly what's the halal or proper best way that he can use social media. And what about his children? What do they do about the limitations?
If he means in his question, technically, I'm sure you know better technical way of preventing or limitation of usage. But I've been asking and listening to some programs. There are many filtering programs which can be applied, because now we are talking about social media and children. The elderly, many of them have a problem of getting addicted to social media. They spend hours and hours and hours, and they end up sleeping late, and they can't wake up to go to work, and so this became like a disease.
So the first thing you would say is,
And this is no exaggeration.
no, of course.
It's been
you
in the books. Yeah.
Yeah, you would say to Hassouni, please use social media firstly with limitations. Don't overdo it.
Definitely
That's the first step.
underdo it if you can, because there is always. I mean, use it less, and this is the recommended way. Plus, there are filters which I'm sure those who are familiar.
For children, especially, there's the parental filters and stuff like that.
For
parental
children
guidance.
and elderly nowadays, because there are more dangerous things, I think, for elderly than children. So these filters, how to use, how to apply, I think the experts can advise better, and these are very important. And also we ask governments. I mean, some countries, the government and the authorities, they do. I'm sure they can do things because nowadays there are, you hear there is kind of awareness about the side effect and the mistakes and the problems getting out of the exaggeration of the usage of the social media.
But I've got a theory for you. I was thinking about, because I have a young boy now,
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
and suddenly I've started to think like a parent. So, the home internet, they give you the option to put parental control, so you can choose what websites can be accessed, what can't be accessed. One thing that I was thinking about is for a household, because the brother said something interesting. He's like, my son is alone or my daughter is alone, for example, and how can I control what they're watching on the computer? My suggestion, and I don't know how practical it is for people, I know the UK has small houses.
Because I wasn't aware of such a thing. It's very good, useful. I'll ask you about it later.
Which one, the parental control?
Parental control.
We'll talk about that definitely.
We can talk about it now.
We will? Let me just give you my
Because
theory.
maybe the audience, they don't know.
Buy a desktop, don't buy a laptop for your
Yeah, a
kids.
laptop is
And put the desktop in the family room.
in the family, exactly.
What do you think of that?
Uh,
That
the-
way, if I'm, for example, sitting down watching TV, or I'm having dinner, or my wife is next to me, the computer is in the family room. Face it towards the wall, so he has to sit towards the wall. I can see the screen from the corner
we
of my
used to have
Even if I leave the house, he will feel shy to do anything because any minute somebody can come and something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is we've been using it from day one, and this is one of the suggestions from
Because
day one.
I've seen how I've gone into households, my friends and stuff like that. It's a disease. You go into every single room. There's a computer and there's a TV, and there's a PlayStation, or for example. You know what I mean? I don't think that's healthy.
No.
Inshallah, I hope if I'm a good parent for my child, I don't want that. I'd put any form of this kind of entertainment inside the living room. And when they're young, don't give them smartphones. Give them your old Nokia that you used to have from the 90s.
Yeah.
When they reach a bit older, because when they're young, they don't need anything. I need to call them. You need to be back by 8, and they need to call me in case of an emergency. Correct?
Yeah.
So they don't need a smartphone, do they,
Yeah.
Saeed?
Yeah.
Something simple. I know this is maybe a fairy tale way of thinking, but I think these are actual practical things you can do to control how much intake of, social media that your children.
This is
Go through.
exactly what we all need to practice. One of the things is to have a one TV, although we are talking about social media. But let's go, because we've been talking about TV also. One TV in the living room, not TV in each room. One TV. I know that would cause a lot of problems. Why? Because the father would like to watch news, and the oldest son would like to watch football, and the youngest child would like to watch cartoon, and no problem. We divide between ourselves. This is the way I do it at home. It's better to spend time in arguments and disagreements about the TV program rather than everyone in
their
his
own
room
place.
and they do. Not only that, because I knew so many people since I was young, and I'm still young. Friends,
I'm older than you.
I know. They had TVs in the rooms. They don't meet. They don't sit down together. They don't see each other. What kind of life is that? For God's sake. Everyone,
No, that's a disaster.
it's a disaster. So this is about TV, computer, this electronic thing in the living room, and as you said, desktop, not laptop, no iPad. If it's iPad or if it's these smartphones, limitation of usage, 1 hour during the weekend, as long as you can. Don't give them smartphones until they are old, and all of these kind of things. And I know it would cause problems, and they moan and this and that. That's it. What can we do? And I highly encourage and urge every single parent to do that to their children, because if my friend and my relatives and my neighbor, next door neighbor, they allow their children to have a smartphone, I can't prevent my daughter or my son from using a smartphone, and then I will be in trouble. So please, Islamically, let's encourage each other, and let's get into this kind of thing. And I highly encourage and recommend, in this holy month of Ramadan, the speakers in the mosque, in the jam'iyat, in the muassasat, in the marakiz al-Islamiyya, please spend time and designate time to talk about these kind of things. Social media become dangerous and become harmful, and it starts affecting every single member of the household, Not only children, even older, even who grew up, maybe
Adults.
grandfather, adult. So it is a dangerous uh, thing which we all need to learn how to use it, when to use it, how to limit it, and where and how, and so many questions which we need to ask ourselves first and ask the others second. We need to know whether we are if we are doing something, like for example today I'm watching this program on the Facebook, on the WhatsApp, can I talk to Said Ali about it? If I can't talk to Said Ali about it, why? Because I feel shame. It's a shameful program. So if I feel embarrassed to talk to Said Ali about it, I feel embarrassed to talk to my malaika about it. My malaika are watching me. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeing me. Imam al-Zaman is seeing me. So once I feel embarrassed to talk to him about it, I need to know there is a danger, there is a red alert. And then I need either to stop it or control it or talk to someone about it. It's very easy. I knew someone, a friend of us, and she had a very nice method which I highly urge everyone, that she allows her children to have Facebook as long as she became their friends.
Okay, so she can be their friends on Facebook. That's interesting.
It's very useful as well. She gives them the authority, the freedom, the liberty to use, but she becomes their friend. Okay, you don't want to be a friend, why? You feel shy? There's something wrong? What's that? This is very useful way of watching others, watching ourselves first. بل الإنسان على نفسه بصيرة. Always we are watching ourselves, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us this kind of watching to protect ourselves, to prevent ourselves from getting towards the ma'asi and the haram and the not legal things. And usually الإنسان المؤمن, the believer himself, his instinct usually is the one which we can check whether we are doing right or wrong. And that's why part of spending long time in this and the side effect and the harmful things is the guilt feeling.
You feel guilty.
And why we had guilt feeling, why we feel guilty. If I'm not doing something wrong, why I feel guilty? And no matter what we are doing, even if I am spending long hours on social media, I will feel guilty because I'm wasting my time, because I'm not spending the ni'mah Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me health, tongue, chest to breathe, ear to listen, eye to watch. All of that are ni'am. إن تعدوا نعمة الله لا تحصوها. I need to use that for the service of the society and the mu'mineen and the being and the community I'm living with. Okay, if I spend hours and hours in these social media, what kind of useful things I'm giving to this
But
society?
it's pressure from society, Sayyidina. Have you, I don't know, maybe you haven't seen it, but people showed you, people now like to put their whole lives on social media. Do you think that's okay? At 5 o'clock I show everyone what I ate. At 6 o'clock I show everyone when I played with my son. At 9 o'clock I show everyone when I do I don't know what. At 10 o'clock I'm doing this. And I keep posting, picture. This is me the whole day. The Snapchat, I don't know if you know about Snapchat now, they keep snapping.
No, I don't.
We need to discuss that in more detail one day. Snapchat is, you can record yourself for 30 seconds, anything that you're doing. And now people all around the world, it's becoming quickly the fast and growing social media platform after Facebook. And people have an interest now. It's like when tabloids exploded in the 80s and 90s, you know, everyone wants to know what the celebrities are doing. Now everyone wants to know what your life is. And now you're pressured into keep on showing people.
This is another disease, I think, because it go back to the issue of show off. I think most of these are show off. I want to show others and others want to show me something. So it's عجب and رياء and show off, and it's لا يخلو من حرمة. يعني there is no way that this can happen with no إشكال. What's the benefit of me showing what I've been dressing? What's apart from if it's not show off, it's gossip.
But it's the same thing as why do our sisters love to dress up extravagantly when they go to weddings? And every single wedding, if there's a wedding next week, I can't wear the same dress, for example. I'm not attacking the sisters, but this is just an example I'm giving, which is a true one.
Even that one, لا يخلو من إشكال. There is إشكال behind it.
But but when we come down to some things that they have to do with urf customs, it's custom now that it's not the correct thing. It shows you're cheap or you don't have money or something like that if you wear the same dress in more than one wedding.
I think, Sayyidina, we are the people who are making this the custom. If 10 of us, they don't do what others are doing, like repeating the dress, or don't exaggerate in making us look so beautiful, or wearing expensive things, or trying to be or look as rich as possible. 2 people will be best example, and gradually, it's same as when we talk about weddings. If 2 or 3 people start having simple weddings, very reasonably priced halls and things and this and that, others will follow, because these adat say wrong habits spread within the society, and everyone is saying, oh, I can't do islah, I can't perform whole society, I can't.
Do you think social media is helping with this and making things worse, spreading these bad messages quicker?
Yeah, but
and more universal.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think we can use social media in spreading the nice things, the right message, the mabad al-salihah, the right concepts of things, the right religious kind of opinion about these kind of.
And is this the kind of advice that you would give to our second caller, Brother Hassouni, when he called in and said that, is there a better way that I can use social media? Probably.
Of course, yeah.
Use this?
Yeah, riwayat every day. Let's put some riwayah also, or ayah and tafsir, or ma'lumat muhim, useful information about things. There are many things we can benefit from the social media, and there are other ways of trying to be involved in useful, beneficial programs rather than destructive and time waste programs.
Okay, after our discussion today about social media, would you get onto social media in the future?
I would love to, as long as I become expert in using it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to get, maybe I've got a phobia. One of my friends, he got involved in problems because he didn't know how to use it. It's very sensitive. People will not believe and understand that people from my generation, which is very young, are not that familiar with how to use these kind of things.
So the thing that's stopping you mostly is just the technical aspect.
Yeah, and I don't have time to learn. And I know roughly about it, but I don't have time. I hope one day, and this is one of the things, quickly, because I know it's the end of the program, Islamic organizations, please and please and please, if you run courses to teach elderly, parents, teachers, whoever is older than whoever, about social media, how it works, and how can we avoid and limit the problems we can get out of it.
And if the elder generation learn it, they'll be able to help the youth and maybe even communicate better with the youth.
Yeah, not spying on the youth.
No,
I'm not giving hint.
No. Not spying on the youth,
because spying is haram.
But monitoring.
Call it whatever you want.
Okay, just to make it sound better. Fair enough, Sayyidina. Sayyidina, thanks again for another great discussion. Always we benefit. And
thank
alhamdulillah, it's a great topic today. Inshallah, we'll be seeing you tomorrow for another fantastic topic. Sayyidina, if there's one final message that you'd like to give to our dear viewers today, I will say my final goodbye and leave you to give a final warm message to the camera.
Well, we can't say do not use social media. We can't say no to social networking, but please try to make best use of it and try to spread the useful information and ma'lumat and concepts of things to others, rather than spend long time in wasting time here and there and following and watching others and try to copy this and that, as it has got useful information which we should and we can spread to others and we can share with the others. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sayyidina.
Ahsantu.
Inshallah, we'll see you tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.